A very good idea to see that the standards which we have in Europe, we also should ask for the products which coming in from outside of the world. We should also blame and shame the one who are doing it outside of European Union in a way which we never would accept.
Do you not feel that there has to be that sense of partnership and winning on innovation and research?
Well, Katie, I would almost tend to say, can there be any doubt about that? I mean, we as an industry, in partnership with the government bodies, with the people who defend our European interests, and I mean, we are a European session here. We are IMA Europe. We represent the industrial minerals sector for Europe. We have all the interest, of course, to do whatever we can to fight together with these gentlemen and their government bodies, basically, to come to what at the end is very often summarized in competitiveness, because we are in a global environment. And I mean, if you are European and you believe that you want to create a future for the next generations to come, I mean, we will be certainly needed to be very, very active to fight and defend our interests through innovation, through partnership, through raising awareness, through really helping each other to understand the needs and the benefits of what we can offer to the society in Europe. And let's be honest, I mean, we have to first think here about Europe. I think Mr. Rübig is very openly saying that some other areas in the world are not as politically correct maybe as Europe is. I like very much to have that European clean West approach, but you have to be very careful that you're not only the nicest, but at the same time also the most stupid one maybe in this global context. That's the risk and the fine line, I think. So we can only highly welcome any partnership, and I think, Thierry, we all agree on this, basically.
And if we're talking about partnership, though, but how delicate is the whole idea? And we're talking about partnership between companies in research. What about intellectual property? How difficult is that? You know, if you have got the big idea, do you want to share it?
If people want to cooperate, they find ways. And what the industry does well is solving problems. So these intellectual property problems we can solve, the environmental problem caused by the technology we can solve with technology. You know, concrete problems the industry can solve. That's what we're good at. The industry is good at measuring things. The industry is good at improving things that they measure. The industry is good at delivering. Another sort of partnership is a partnership between authorities, between public bodies, and between the industry. This is something that is very delicate because, you know, there has been built over the years a strong capital of trust, I would say, specifically here in Brussels with the authorities. I think IMA Europe is really an example of how good cooperation, good exchange of information can build some trust with authorities. But also there is a strong capital of distrust built by, you know, all sorts of regulation that has been brought, and that in fact, although they were introduced with very good spirit and very good ideas, have been in turn, have been acting against the industry. So there is this complex situation where, you know, we trust the people, we trust the organizations we have in front of us. Sometimes there is some distrust because we know this may end up in some regulation that are going to be detrimental to the industry. This we have to solve. And regulatory risk now for the industry is a risk that is of the same order of magnitude as big industrial risk. We have to realize that. This is a change. The regulatory risk of having a regulation overnight, just killing your industry, is just as big as the risk of having a big accident, killing the image of your industry and your possibility to operate.
Innovation, of course, is needed. It's the only way out if we have a legislative framework that is more burdensome than in other regions. But I think we should be clear, innovation is not going to save us in that context. And I have to say that quite a lot of good ideas that we have in the Sibelco group come out of our Asian colleagues. It is the Asian colleagues who are directly faced with the whole industry of electronics. We don't know in Europe anymore what electronics means. It means that you have to innovate every 6 months, be there with a new development, the new model of the new iPhone, whatever. It is our Asian colleagues who came up with the ideas of saying, well, we need to go to superfine, to microfine, ultrafine, in order to go to the miniaturization of of the electronics. It is not Europe. And I'm sorry, I think that we can talk a lot about innovation, but I still need to see it. I still need to see how innovation will save us on this one. I agree. Innovation has no boundaries. I'm just always asking myself, yes, we have to innovate. We have to go for higher added value, better efficiency, better effectiveness. But if we're talking about a competitive position of Europe versus the rest, how do we make sure that Europe retains and can build on that competitiveness? I see indeed Asia innovating at a much faster pace than we do. Second is, and let's also see the reality, we're here with 3, I would say, international, multi-regional companies on this stage. If we innovate something in Europe, do you think that we will confine our innovation to Europe? No. We will also apply this to, I would say, the other sides in the rest of the world. And that's what the entire industry does. So where is the boundary and how will we catch up on that one? It's a question.
Yes, I want to congratulate Jean-Luc because he said it's very important to have the right education, the MINT activities, and how can we get the most modern knowledge which we create through framework program on research, Horizon 2020 and whatever, how can we get it to our education system? It's also important for industry and for SMEs to get a good and very well understandable knowledge. Europe should be the most knowledge-based, competitive area in this world. We still fight for this.
Now, at least with Horizon 2020, there is this drive towards really more innovation in the right way, which means moving away from theoretical research and going down to the market, a bit what China and others in the US are doing. So, I mean, it's difficult for companies like yours, Sibelco and others to get access to the 7 framework program, but for small and medium enterprises, it's almost impossible. I mean, they've hardly been users of our research programs of the Commission. So that's is clearly an area which will now be improved with the Horizon 2020. Out of Horizon 2020, you have only 1/3 which goes to basic research, 1/3 goes to industry, and 1/3 goes to societal challenges. And I repeat, one of the societal challenges is resource efficiency and raw materials, so is money clearly dedicated to you. So I know that IMA Europe has been among the organization most active since the beginning. You may be familiar with a project which is a public-private partnership which is called Spire for processing industry, and that is something which IMA Europe, together with many of the stakeholders, which depends on my unit, have created, like also the Eurofair for the steel industry. They have created from the beginning, and that's, I think, is again a big opportunity, because instead of putting new legislation on industry, what the Commission is doing is that let's fund some activities in how to see how we can make this industry more CO2 compatible and resource efficient. So that is also a positive development. Spire is not the new financial, is already taking place now. So I think that's is a positive point.
I hear a new tune, a voice from many actors. This is very encouraging. I hear people finding out that, well, we need an industry in Europe, just as simple as that.